Most people aren't miserable because life destroyed them. They're miserable because they unknowingly built a system that guarantees dissatisfaction. This video exposes the brutal arithmetic behind happiness and how to stop sabotaging your own life. Most people who end up miserable didn't get ambushed by fate. They assembled their misery piece by piece, over years, with astonishing consistency. That isn't cruelty, it's arithmetic. Give someone enough food, a roof, decent health, and even a little money in the bank, and watch how efficiently they can still turn their life into a prison. Not because life dealt them impossible cards, but because they insisted on playing every hand with anger, envy, and self-pity as their strategy. Happiness is not complicated. That's the part almost nobody wants to hear. It's simple, mechanical, and brutally unforgiving of bad inputs. The psychology industry survives by pretending it's mysterious. The truth is worse. Happiness is easy to understand and hard to execute because human beings are naturally wired to sabotage their own contentment, and most never notice they're doing it. The first rule of a happy life is embarrassingly plain. Keep your expectations low enough that reality can occasionally exceed them. This idea offends people because they've been trained to equate low expectations with weakness or surrender. Dream big, they were told. Never settle. Reach for the stars. And so they did, and now they're 55 years old, comparing themselves to someone who got richer faster, wondering why they feel hollow despite living more comfortably than 99% of humans who ever lived. The trick isn't wanting less in a defeated way. It's understanding the mathematics of satisfaction. When you only permit yourself to feel happy if life turns out exquisite, you build a system designed to fail. You set the bar so high that disappointment becomes inevitable, and then you act shocked when it arrives. You've engineered guaranteed dissatisfaction and labeled it ambition. Unreasonable demands on life turn you into something like a bird battering itself against the bars of a cage. The wings work fine. The cage may even have an open door somewhere. But the bird is so enraged by the bars it can see that it beats itself bloody against them, never stopping to look for the exit. Most suffering is manufactured internally. That's the uncomfortable truth. And people hate it because accepting it means you lose the luxury of blaming everyone else. Your boss isn't ruining your life. Your spouse isn't ruining your life. The economy isn't ruining your life. Your reactions are. This is a motivational fluff. It's cause and effect. Two people can face the same setback. One stews in resentment, loses sleep, damages relationships, and makes terrible decisions while emotionally compromised. The other absorbs a blow, adjusts course, and moves forward. Same event, different outcome. The difference isn't luck or privilege. It's mental machinery. If you want to design the perfect formula for lifelong misery, it would be simple. Maintain unrealistic expectations. Compare yourself relentlessly to people who have more. Nurse every grievance. Replay every slight. Make victimhood central to your identity. Assume your suffering is unique and unprecedented. Follow that recipe and no amount of money, health, or love will save you. You'll be wretched in the middle of abundance. The inversion is the solution. Don't ask how to be happy. Ask what reliably makes people miserable, and then stop doing those things. Envy, resentment, revenge, and self-pity are catastrophic modes of thought. Self-pity in particular edges toward paranoia, and paranoia is notoriously hard to undo. Drift into it, and you may never climb out. I once knew a man who carried a stack of index cards in his pocket. When someone indulged in self-pity, he'd hand them one. It read, "Your story has touched my heart. Never have I heard of anyone with as many misfortunes as you." It was funny, but it was diagnostic. The person who felt offended by that card was the one who truly believed their suffering made them special. That person didn't want solutions. They wanted recognition. And that guarantees misery, because misfortune became their identity. Life will deliver terrible blows, unfair blows, devastating blows. Some people recover, and others don't. The difference is never the size of the blow, it's the response. Every missed chance is an opportunity to behave well. Every loss is an opportunity to learn something. Your duty isn't to wallow. It's to use the blow constructively. This isn't theory. I've seen people lose children, lose their sight, lose everything they built over decades. Some were destroyed. Others endured. The deciding factor was never circumstance. It was attitude. Everyone struggles. There is no version of life without pain. If you need to cry for a few hours a day to keep going, cry. But you can't quit. You can cry, but you must keep swimming. The most destructive emotion of all is envy. The world isn't driven by greed. It's driven by envy. Greed at least has a logic. You want something tangible. Envy is pure stupidity. It's the only sin with no pleasure attached. No upside, just pain. You don't get what the other person has by resenting them. You just feel worse. That's it. Pure misery, zero return. Someone will always be better than you at everything. Richer, faster, younger, luckier. This is not a tragedy. It's a law. If you're comfortably wealthy and someone else gets richer faster taking wild risks, so what? Someone always will. Social media has turned this into psychological warfare by letting you compare yourself unfavorably to billions of people instead of a few neighbors. The only winning move is to stop playing. Civilization itself is the practice of overriding destructive instincts. Personal happiness is no different. Envy doesn't disappear on its own. You overpower it. The arithmetic is clear. Envy cannot improve your life. It can only poison it. Once you truly understand that, the emotion loses its grip. Patience is where most people fail most consistently. We live in an era that has trained people to be terrible at waiting. But everything that matters compounds slowly. Money, relationships, skills, reputation. None of it blooms overnight. The big rewards go to those who keep showing up while everyone else quits. Most people cycle through bursts of enthusiasm. They start intensely, see no immediate results, and abandon ship. 10 years later, they've started 50 things and finished nothing. Meanwhile, patience quietly creates an unfair advantage. While others flail between distractions, you can simply outlast them. High intelligence doesn't protect people from failure. In fact, many brilliant people fail spectacularly because they lack emotional discipline. Temperament matters more than IQ. Fear makes you sell at the bottom. Greed makes you buy at the top. Envy makes you chase what worked for someone else. Impatience makes you abandon sound strategies before they have time to work. The prescription is almost laughably simple. Don't envy. Don't resent. Don't overspend. Stay cheerful despite trouble. Deal with reliable people. Do what you're supposed to do. These rules work absurdly well, which is why people ignore them in favor of something flashy and complex. Reality doesn't care how justified you feel. Arithmetic doesn't negotiate. Spend more than you earn, and you go backward. Pretentious spending won't make you happy. It buys symbols, not substance. You trade security for appearance and wonder why anxiety increases instead of joy. Despite unprecedented progress, medicine, electricity, abundance, people are less satisfied than ever. Why? Because improvement is taken for granted, while comparison never stops. We can be miserable in paradise if we insist on measuring ourselves against whoever has more. When genuine catastrophe strikes, self-pity still doesn't help. The pain is real. Sympathy is deserved. But self-pity adds a second layer of suffering that accomplishes nothing. Most people don't process pain. They marinate in it, replaying it until the wound deepens. Maturity is taking life as it falls. The universe does not owe you comfort. Bad things will happen. Your responsibility is to respond in a way that makes the situation better instead of worse. Act as if it's your fault. Not because it always is, but because that posture is the only one that allows action. Anticipating trouble isn't pessimism. It's preparation. The pessimist gives up in advance. The prepared person builds capacity. Assume life will be hard and ask whether you can handle it. If the answer is yes, you've already won. The safest way to get what you want is to deserve it. Be useful. Be reliable. Be competent. Treat people well. These qualities compound quietly over time, just like money. Wisdom compounds too. Read constantly. Learn daily. Add to your mental library. Understanding how the world works makes you harder to fool, harder to panic, and harder to manipulate. And through it all, keep swimming. Through booms and busts. Through joy and grief. Through success and failure. The people who build remarkable lives aren't extraordinary. They're persistent. They didn't quit. Happiness is available. It costs no money, no luck, no brilliance. But it demands discipline. The discipline to override envy, to resist resentment, to accept reality, to keep going. Most people won't pay that price. You don't have to be one of them.